When talking about professional wrestling, we usually referring to the big stars first. Hogan, Cena, Michaels, Austin, Rock, Taker, Flair, etc. etc. With good reason. These guys are the head, the upper echelon, the reason people are buying tickets and tuning in. But what is a head without a backbone to stand on? And what is the backbone of professional wrestling, in my opinion, if the stars are the head? Well, quite simple. The midcard.
This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
The midcard really is a dying art form in 2026. A lot of people would chalk it up to a lot of midcards, them feeling as big time stars and actually watering down the product, and that there's no actual stars left in wrestling. Everybody's either a midcarder or jabber. And yeah, I kind of agree with that sentiment to a T, but it's more than that. And I can start off with reason number one.
The Rock says you all four jabronis can go right down to the Tropicana Hotel. It's right up the road.
I think the most egregious part about this, or the most telling part about the dying off of the midcard, is that nobody really values the midcard anymore. Everybody looks at being a midcard as being a jobber, and that is not true. You see, a problem with a lot of fans and a lot of wrestlers today is that everybody wants to be a star, but everybody thinks being a star is being the highest, the upper echelon of an organization, which not everybody's gonna make that, bro. And you don't have to be that guy to be the guy. Case in point, Kofi Kingston is a mid-carder. R-Truth, Miz, all these guys, mid-carders. Booker T was an upper mid-carder for the majority of his career, just like Big Show, Kane, and the list goes on. Mark Henry, the list goes on. Would you ever question the fact that these men are legends in WWE or legends in wrestling in general? You would never do that. You wanna know why? Because even though these guys in this, I think, even if you plug them in an era like this, which is the pride of stars, they would be the top stars, right? These guys understood that you didn't have to be the guy to be the guy, if you catch my drift. Because look at the era they were in. They weren't superseding John Cena and Randy Orton. They weren't superseding Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. They were not going to supersede them. But you know what they did? They filled out the niche. They filled out the other storylines there. And whenever somebody wasn't paying attention to the top stars or paying attention to the main storylines, they had something else that they could feast their eyes on. Because when you go to a show, may I remind you, it's not just Stone Cold and The Rock and Triple H and Chris Jericho you can see at the show or on the Taker. You can see these other guys, and these other guys fill out the spaces. Oh, talking about Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho was also an upper mid card for the longest while. Yeah, he's a star, but we gotta be frank here. Again, there's nothing wrong with being a mid card, bro. All of a sudden, it became a slur. It became an insult to be called a mid carder. I don't know why, but like nowadays, when you call somebody a mid card, it's an insult, and that's because a lot of people them have this mentality that they got to be number one, which is fine. You want to be number one in your profession, but sometimes you gotta understand the next man will get pushed or next woman will get pushed over you because they got more star attraction, they got more star value. So what you gotta do now, you gotta provide and showcase your worth to the fans, and that's what the essence of the mid card is. The mid card, by the way, is the body of wrestling, because the majority of wrestlers on a card go make up the mid card. If you catch my drift. This also goes in tandem with my next point, which is the pipeline from being a mid-carder to being an upper mid-carder to being a star, or just being a job and being a mid-carder is just completely different nowadays. Because, again, like I said, nobody wants to be in the mid-card, nobody wants to be stuck there, and everybody and the fans and the organizations think somebody belongs at this position. You understand me? Some people will be like, oh no, this man, he got to be a star. Why y'all want to make you a star? Why y'all doing this? Why y'all doing that? Because if you got 100 people, right? And people only come to see 5 out of the 100 people, what do you think could happen to the rather 95 people that got fill up the other spaces? I don't understand how y'all don't get this point. It's for this same reason why stars like Bobby Lashley, Edge, Kofi Kingston, all these guys, Chris Jericho even, they were stuck in mid-card purgatory for many years. Why? Because so many different hands were in the pie. So many people were telling WWE and different organizations that this is who we want. This, why you don't do this? Why you don't do that? And they were trying to push while also trying to force people that they wanted down other people's throats. They start neglecting the actual stars who could have elevated themselves up from the mid-card to being genuine stars and leading the industry. But you already know how that shit is go. Confusion central. But how we can rectify this? Really and truly, what we gotta do, or what the powers that be gotta do, they gotta look at the shows from top to bottom and say, hey, I need to entertain my fans from the start to the hour to the ending, or the 3 hours, or the 2 hours, or whatever time is it. You understand me? That's how it used to go back in the days, in the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression eras, bro. You used to want to catch every single minute of a show back in the days, bro. And it's not like if we ain't got stars nowadays to fill out them roles in the mid-card. It's just that WWE, AEW, TNA, they're not really utilizing them. And one of the reasons why is because they got too much people on these rosters. But I digress. Later.